In this video, we are going to prove a particular theorem, which is the sum of the angles on the same side of the transversal and between the parallel line is 180 degrees. So these are the two parallel lines and this is the transversal. These two angles which are on the same side of the transversal, if you add these two, it is equal to 180 degrees. And this condition, that is, it will be 180 degrees only if these two lines are parallel. If they are not parallel, they won't be 180 degrees. Clear? So these are the two lines which are parallel lines. Sorry. And this is the line which is cutting these two parallel lines, which is giving rise to two angles between the parallel lines. And the total of these two angles will be 180 degrees. This is what we are going to prove. It is sometimes also called as allied angles. Okay, ALLIED, allied angles. Now let us see how to prove it. We write the same statement. Sum of the angles on the same side of the transversal and between the same parallel line is 180 degrees. Now, prove. This can be proved using Euclid's postulate. So, in 9th standard, you would have studied about Euclid's theorems, Euclid's postulates, so Euclid geometry. So, if you remember all that, so we will take Euclid's postulate, one postulate. So, Euclid's postulate states that if a straight line falling on two straight lines make the interior angles on the same side of it taken together is less than two right angles, then the straight lines, if produced indefinitely, meet on the same side on which the sum of the angle is less than the two right angles. So two straight lines, a straight line falling on two straight lines. So let us take the two straight lines first. These are the two straight lines. Straight lines, okay? A straight line falling on these two lines. That means let us take another line like this. Straight line falling on these two straight lines. The interior angles on the same side of it. These are the interior angles. This angle and this angle, they are interior angles. This angle and this angle also, they are interior angles. Angles which are between these two lines and on the same side of the transversal, we call them as the interior angles. Then the two lines, if produced, if the total of these two interior angles, okay, if it is less than two right angles, if it is less than two right angles means one right angle is 90 degrees. So two right angles should be 180 degrees. That means if the total of these two angles is less than 180 degrees, and if you try to produce these lines, they will intersect. Okay, that is what he wants to say. Let us see. This is angle A, this is angle B. Now, when you try to what is the condition now here? Both are acute angle. You see this angle is an acute angle less than 90 degrees. This is also an acute angle less than 90 degrees. So the total of these two will be less than 180 because 90 plus 90 is 180. And if it is less than 90, both of these, then the total also will be less than 180. So if these two are less than 180, and now if we try to produce this angle, let's produce it. Let's produce this also. See, they meet at a point here. Let us name it as point D. So if the total of these two angles on the same side of the transversal, if it is less than 180 degrees, and if you try to produce the two lines, they will intersect. That means these two lines are not parallel because they are intersecting. Because line means it's indefinite length. It has got an indefinite length and that means it can prolong. That's why we have got arrows here. So what can you say from this? If the sum of the two angles on the same side of the transverse is less than 180 degrees, then when the lines are produced, they meet at point D on the same side. So that means if the sum of these two line angles is less than 180, and if you produce this line, they meet at a point D on the same side of these angles, on the side on which these two angles are there. What if, let us see, what if they are greater than 180? Now let us say, consider the next case. These are the two lines. This is the transversal. If these two angles, now you see this is an obtuse angle, this is also obtuse angle more than 90 degrees. So in this case, that means angle A plus angle B is greater than 90. More than 90 means 90 plus 90 is 180, but more than 90 should be greater than 180. So now if you see, this is the condition. These two are obtuse angles. Now here we try to produce it. Here also we produce. Again they meet at point D. So if they are greater than also, they intersect at some point outside if you produce it. So that means here again, if the sum of the two angles on the same side of the transversal is more than 180 degrees, then when the lines are produced on the other side, they meet at point D on the other side, isn't it? We are producing on the angles are here and the lines are produced on the other side and they meet at a point D. So that means if the angles are, sum of the angle is more than 90, more than 180, they intersect. If it is less than 180, also they intersect. That means what should be, that means it cannot be more than 180, it cannot be less than 180. That means it has to be 180 for it to be parallel. So in either of the cases, the two lines will not be parallel because they are intersecting. So if these are two lines and we have a transversal like this, if these two are angles and if these two angles together is 180 degrees, then the lines will be parallel. That means if the lines are parallel, the sum of the angles on the same side of the transversal must be equal to 180 degrees. So from the above two observations, we can conclude that the two lines will be parallel if and only if the sum of the angles on the same side of the transversal is 180 degrees. That means the total of these two angles is 180 degrees. Hope this is clear.